Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Polywine, where we like to take a deep dive into stories pulled from the media and have a fun time while breaking it down. I'm Jillian, and let's get into it. So, last time we were together, we were discussing Hurricane Milton, and as Florida was preparing themselves for yet another major storm system, Milton fortunately lost a little bit of power before making landfall and was downgraded to a category 3. And although he did hit with might, he was not as severe as they were originally calling for. So, very fortunate on that end, but it was still powerful, still destructive. Florida was slammed. I don't know if you saw some of the images of around like Sarasota and stuff like that, where the sand right on the coastal cities were just about like 10, 12 feet high. It's just huge. But not only that did they have the major hurricane, they were also hit with around, I think the last count I found was around 38 recorded tornadoes also hit the area as well. And as of last count, 17 people lost their lives due to that storm system. Not only are they still recovering from Milton, they're still recovering from Helene. That's as most of the South is still rebuilding and collecting themselves following Helene. Again, I keep talking about Asheville, North Carolina. I mean, just the images of Asheville are just, my God, just so horrific. And I was looking up that last count of those who have passed from Helene. And as of now, the last count I can find, the numbers are around like 300. So, wow. So sad. So our hearts go to you all in the South Florida. Please, if you'd like to help, donate any way you can, volunteer. Please go to the proper sources, FEMA, the American Red Cross, and please go to a reputable charity that can help direct any of these services and aid that goes to the correct people when they need it, for those who need it the most. So, I mean, the South, Florida, please, the season is not over yet. The hurricane season does not end till the end of November. So please be careful. I mean, Mother Nature she's angry right now. She seems angry. She's upset. The waters are warm. The season has been super hot. So please just, if we can make it through the final stretch of it till the end of November, I mean, and I was just looking, like, there's a little bit of, there's tropical depression. Was it Leslie circling in the Atlantic? So please, Florida, please be careful. And that goes for all the South, the Eastern Shore, the Gulf, everything. The South, I mean, it's just left and right weather and just utter destruction. It's just so sad. So sad. Moving from the weather, and we're all thinking of you, and it's just been bizarre as everything's changing. Let's move into politics. 19 days to go. 19 days. Thank God. Thank God. I can't take it anymore. I cannot take it anymore. I am sick of the commercials, the ads. It's just the conversations. It's everything. It's suffocating. It's too much. So, 19 days to go. I don't know who this small pocket of undecided voters are. I don't know who you are. They're there. Please. You only have two candidates. Of course, yes, you have the Libertarian candidate. Yes. But RFK's out. You have two. You've got Harris or you got Trump. Okay? If you have not made up your mind, there is still time. Do your research. Do your fact checking. Go to proper resources. Find the candidate that works for you, but there is still time. But please do not waste your vote. Every vote counts. Yours matters. It matters. And I was watching some interviews the other day from Hillary Clinton, following the 2016 election. And she was saying, this is the polls. And, I hate polls. I hate these polls. Who are you polling? Why is it still so close? The polls are never accurate. So why do we rely so much on these polls? Anybody want to tell me? I have no idea. Why? I don't know. But they're still neck and neck. I mean, with the Harris Harris a fraction of separation, right? It's too close. I don't like it. It makes me nervous. It's very anxious building. I don't like it. But the polls, they're never right. So why do we rely so heavily on them? And again, who are they polling? Not me. Not anybody I know. It's too close. Too close. So 19 days, do your research. Don't waste your vote. But what I was trying to say is because it just, these undecided voters at this point, why are you waiting to the last minute? It just makes me upset. I don't understand. But, the thing that they were saying with Clinton is she was saying that there were so many people that came up to her following the election and after she stepped down that they're like, according to the polls, you had such a huge margin of victory that we didn't go out and vote because we thought you had it in the bag. And, that's bad. She was like, we needed your vote. We need everything. We need a huge wave. So there's no question. Nobody can contest it, and it's going to be contested anyway, there's all those extra votes to come in. So, but the fact that you would just waste your vote, I understand that voting's not always convenient. Some of the times the lines are long and there should be a little bit more flexibility, but there are options. There is mail-in voting. There is early voting. But please do not waste your vote. Please don't waste your women, don't waste your vote. It's a constitutional right. It is your right. Get out and vote. Don't sit on the couch, because if you're going to sit on the couch, you definitely can't complain. So get out, vote. Doesn't matter if it's rain, sleeting, snowing, doesn't matter. Vote. Please vote. I'm very nervous. I just want it over. But these final weeks, I mean, it's suffocating. Like I said, it is drowning. It's everywhere. I mean, Harris is on she's everywhere. Waltz is everywhere, but Harris is everywhere. She's on podcasts. She's on late night. She's on daytime. She's on morning. You name it, she's there. She did Howard Stern, his radio show. She did The Breakfast Club with Charlamagne the God. That was huge. She's everywhere. She's willing to go to Fox. She's willing to do another debate. And she said, even if Fox wanted to debate it. So she's willing to go to the territory of the other side, to the unfamiliar. She's willing to take the tough question. She's willing to do those final hurdles to get those last votes of those who are undecided. So if she's willing to jump through those hoops, I say give it to her. Trump, not so much. He's everywhere. He's on the circuit. He's doing the tour. He's getting anybody and every celebrity he can. Weird, super odd town hall the other day. I mean, Pennsylvania, God, if everybody's just going back, doing that loop around, circling right back around to Pennsylvania. That's the hot state. Ohio, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan. I think we all pretty much know where Arizona is going to go. That's the other big state, but I think that's pretty red. Ohio, usually pretty red. Vance's territory. But I mean, Pennsylvania, they are just working that circuit there. But weird, so weird the other day. He was right outside Philly. He was on the stage with Kristi Noem of South Dakota, and she is very stiff. But she was really, she was on the improv circuit the other day. So they did have a medical emergency in the audience. And I think I actually read that there was 2 medical emergencies, but there was a medical emergency in the audience. So while they were trying to buy a little time and figure out and handle the medical emergency in the audience, they started to play a little bit of music on stage to, buy the time. But then for some weird reason, I don't know why, I don't know if people were on the side of the stage telling Trump to keep it going, he decided to start DJing up there, and evidently he had a playlist. It was a long playlist, it was like Ave Maria, but first time it didn't have the words, so then he had to play it again because with the words, with the lyrics. And then he had the YMCA, that he loves that loop of that song. Then he had a couple of his other staples, and then Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor. But it went on for 40 minutes and just awkward, and him standing on a chair, and just to see the reaction of others in the crowd and those that were standing behind him on stage. They kind of had a little bit of a, at first they were into it and dancing around and into the music, and then afterwards you could just see him kind of losing a little bit of interest and wandering, eyes wandering off, and just unusual off time clapping. It was just weird. And then you got Trump up there with his double pumping hand action that he does, which is very unusual. Is that dancing? What is that? It's not even on the rhythm. What is that? I mean, you got to have something else. That's his go-to move. But it was weird. 40 minutes. You don't think that in that time you could have talked about one of your major topics or your platforms, or unveil something out, a new policy that you want to discuss, or take a few questions, or hear some concerns, or, I just talk to people in general, a little exchange some pleasantries without none of that. And you could even see that Kristi Noem was getting a little uncomfortable and trying to move it along. And did you want to take some questions, Trump, over here? And here's an audience member over here. And nope. Going back to the music, play this song and play this song and just DJ play that. It was very unusual. And not only that, he looked tired, and I'm sure he's exhausted, but his makeup was really off. And I don't know, when you hear him speak anymore, it's very scattered, very disjointed, and of course, angry. Screams old man, bitter old man. But I find it concerning myself. I find it erratic. I find it crazed. And he gives me Madman in the Castle, and it makes me nervous. That makes me nervous. So again, listen to what your candidates are saying. They're letting you know what they think and what they want and what their platforms are. Harris is letting you know. Trump is he's saying a lot of stuff. It's inconsistent at times, very inconsistent. Sometimes it's hard to hear what he's saying because it's all over the place, but they're letting you know what they're thinking and what they want to do. I don't know exactly if Trump's letting you know what he's thinking, but he's going to let you know what he's doing. He's constantly changing his mind what he wants to do, but he's pissed. And that makes me nervous. And the fact that he's constantly changing, that should make you nervous. So please, 19 days, do your research, find your candidate, and make your votes. Please get the right information. Fact check, fact check, fact check. But it's a lot. Now, please, enough politics. Let's move on. Let's move into the world of entertainment. Right before I was getting to go on today, there was news that broke that One Direction, the former member of One Direction, Liam Payne, has passed. He fell from a balcony in a hotel in Argentina, and at the very young age of 31, he has passed. That's just so sad. That is so sad. To the members of the band, to his friends, family, loved ones, and to the entertainment and music world. What a loss. So sad. So young. And he has a young child. Ugh, poor baby. Such a loss. Just very sad. And going over into some other aspects of work. We can't even talk right now. To other aspects of the music world. Let's get into Diddy. Oh, Diddy. Diddy, some of the details that are coming out about some of the accusations and the claim that it's dirty Diddy. The nasty, the deviance behind some of these statements, it's gross. It's gross. And the details, there's going to be a lot of details coming down the pike leading up to the court case. And last week he did again try to have another hearing for bail, denied. And his court case, the date was set May 5th, 2025. So I'm just saying, if the cameras are allowed in the courtroom, I gotta go there. Please. His court TV, I don't know who has to beg the judge on that one. Do what you need to. We need cameras in the courtroom. I hope that they are respectful and do provide some privacy to the victims. I think a lot of the testimony and statements that are going to come from the victims and the accusers it's going to be hard. I think a lot of it's going to be hard to hear. A lot of delicate and sensitive details that are going to come out. And so I hope they're respectful of the privacy of the victims for sure. But boy, Hollywood everywhere. Hollywood, TV, entertainment, music, business, and just everything. I mean, because he was a mogul. Diddy was a mogul. Business wise, I mean, he had alcohols, he had just clothing line. He was in everything. But anybody that's affiliated or has had some affiliation with him or direct contact with him, I mean, the panic of everybody who's afraid they're going to get a phone call. And just think of all the parties that he had. The guy's been around for a long time in the industry. And just think of all the parties. And they were known to be epic parties. And everybody who was anybody wanted to be invited to that party, wanted to be on that list. And I can't even imagine the subpoenas that are going out. Hundreds, thousands. How many do you think? Huh? I can't even imagine the amount of subpoenas, the hours of videos, footage, text messages, social media. I mean, how many teams of people do you think? Yeah, the FBI authority, DA. I mean, how many teams of people do you think are part of the research team? I can't even imagine. These are the details I need to know that come out in the court. I need to know this stuff. Cinco de Mayo. Can you imagine how bars are going to be full? TVs are going to be on. Every TV is going to be on that court case. I would think the bar stools are going to be full. Save a seat for me because I want to be there. Cinco de Mayo is going to have a whole other twist this year. So, God, the sweating of people in the industry must be doing. That black book of Diddy's must be, the scandals that are going to come out leading up to that. It's very Epstein-esque. It's very Epstein-esque. So I hope there's a lot of security that's on Diddy. We don't want anything to happen to him. I'm going to be glued to the case. Everything that's going to come out, everything's going to be scrutinized. Everything. Wow. May 5th, 20 Diddy court. Wow. What's going on? Speaking of Diddy, let's go to one of Diddy's kind of nemesis. Somebody who's been warning us for a long time. The video. I still can't get over the Cassie video. It's that, and there's going to be so many videos because evidently he was a filmer and a talker. So, geez, Louise. A lot of video footage. Guys, do you not know? You do not put anything down. Don't film it. It will always come back. But hopefully anything will help the victims get justice served. So again, Diddy has denied all claims, innocent until proven guilty, but a lot of accusations are coming out there. A lot of accusers are coming out. I do believe yesterday there were some filings that had taken action in the court system. I don't know how many at this time, but there's been a few things that have been filed to the court. So let's see how many come up. Again, May 5th. Crazy. But going over back into the music industry and somebody who's been warning us about Diddy for a long time, 50 Cent. 50 has just been given a residency in Vegas, 6 shows. It is going to happen through December 27th through January 5th. It's going to be awesome. So if you have a chance, you want to break away from the stress of the holidays and you need to go out and have some fun and get away from all the stuff that happened with the family, got to break out, go see Diddy, go to Vegas, go see Diddy, 50, go see 50 Cent, Vegas, Planet Hollywood, and the tickets go on sale this Saturday, October the 19th, 50 Cent in the club, Planet Hollywood, go see him. But yeah, I think that's going to be a great show. Any of my friends out in Vegas, if you want to get tickets, I'll meet you there. I will be there. I love 50. But like I was saying, 50 Cent warned us for a long time about Diddy. And if I could also just state for the record, and can I just give a little shout out to Mama Wendy Williams? She's also been sending out the flare signal about Diddy for a long time. Now, I'm not going to go down too far down memory lane, but Wendy Williams warned us. Now, Wendy had a radio show for many years in New York. Great show, huge following. And according to Wendy's story, version of the story is that she said that there were a lot of stories coming out from these parties and these freak-offs. And Wendy talked about it. And some of the stories that came out were Diddy thought that they were unsavory and he freaked out and, went after Wendy. And Wendy had said that it was Diddy that kind of got her fired from that talk show or the radio show. Now, fortunately for everyone else in the US and globally, Wendy got a talk show. Great show. We miss you, Wendy. Mama Wendy, you were the best. But she warned us. But Wendy warned us a lot about a lot of people. She had infinite wisdom when it came to people in the entertainment world. I mean, she had been through it. She had been around. She'd been in and out of the gossip world for a long time. Entertainment, TV, music, she knew it. And Wendy was kind of always like the National Enquirer, like the Star magazine every time. Like when you hear the rumblings, where there's smoke, there's fire. And she was wafting the smoke signals years ago. And look where we are today. And Wendy, if you hear me, I know you probably don't, but if you are listening or anyone that knows you, Wendy, I love you. I love you. We miss you. And we are thinking of you and everything that you need. Wendy, we love you. But Wendy warned us. Wendy warned us. Listen to your mamas, everyone. Listen to your mamas. And 50 Cent. Diddy. Now, let's get over to a little bit of TV, movies, entertainment. Now, speaking of some of the stuff going on in the court, there has been a lot going on and a lot discussing the Menendez brothers. You had another documentary that came out or docuseries that came out on Netflix, Monster. Great. Javier Bardem. So good. And little fun fact, in that documentary, the one actor, was it Cooper Conch? He said he did not have a prosthetic in the shower scene. So anybody that scene has been getting a lot of talk, and he was on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen the other day. So fun fact for anybody who was really into that shower scene in the docuseries Monster with the Lyle and the Eric Menendez story, he did not have a prosthetic. So thank you very much. We all like you and are very interested in you now. That docuseries has got a lot of conversation has come up out of it. And then there's been so many documentaries about it, like on Peacock and, Hulu. And so much has come out over the years following. I think they've been the original crime happened in 89. And I think the original, 93 was when the trial happened and when they were convicted. So, it's been 30 some years since they've been in prison. Now, there has been a lot of conversation about should a court go back and review some of the ruling of their case? Should their charge of, first degree murder, life in prison with no parole, should that be maybe reevaluated and maybe be reduced to a lesser crime instead of first degree, maybe something else, something lesser? Now, the district attorney said that they would go back through it and look at some of the information because it was weird. Now, just go through it really quickly. Back when the Menendez stuff happened, their first hearing, or the first trial, let's just say, first trial, the defense was they murdered their parents out of self-defense. They were sexually abused their entire life, both physically, sexually, and psychologically abused. That was the defense. Now, during the first trial, there was a mistrial. So they had to go stand another trial. Now, during the second trial, there was a lot of turmoil, a lot of high celebrity court cases happening at that time, and may have that played a little bit of a part in the deciding factor of how the judge heard the second trial, possibly. Because during the second trial, now the defense of sexual abuse, and that is why they murdered their parents in self-defense, was not even allowed in. It was not admissible. So essentially, a jury heard that they acted, the Menendez brother killed their parents, basically for money. They were spoiled brats, and they killed their parents for money. That was kind of the gist of the second trial. It was not, the sexual abuse was not allowed in. And none of the witnesses from the family and friends of the family that were allowed to testify during the first trial, none of that was allowed in the second trial. So during the second trial, they were convicted of murder, life in prison, no chance of parole. Now, could they go back? Can they maybe reintroduce that as a defense and maybe reevaluate it? Who knows? But there is conversation, and it could happen. Could the Menendez brothers, if their sentence is reduced, could they be released from prison for time served? It could happen. It's plausible. We'll see. Now, I guess we'll see. I always get a little nervous when a lot of attention from the public kind of puts a little bit of pressure on the legal system. I always think of what happened, the Free Britney thing. There was a lot of pressure about her conservatorship. And I think, personally, I think a lot of that swayed the outcome of the decision. And look at Britney now. What's happening with Britney? Britney Spears. Every time I turn on Instagram or I see Britney on Instagram, I get nervous. And she's on TMZ. I get nervous. We're worried about you, Britney. We are worried about you. Now, I'm sure she's enjoying freedom and she looks like it, but she makes me nervous. So I always get nervous when the public puts so much pressure on the legal system. The legal system feel like they have to respond and maybe go back and look at old cases, and do they need to reevaluate? It makes me nervous, Sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes the legal system does get it wrong. But I get a little nervous. So let's see. It's happening. It's getting a lot of attention. Let's see where the Menendez brothers go. Now, with that documentary, there's also a new documentary coming out on Netflix. And this is about the Zodiac murders, the Zodiac killer. And I'm really interested with this. And the reason I am very curious about this is that a couple years ago, there was a documentary that came out about the Golden State Killer. And that was a cold case, and so many victims, the torture meant not only after the crime, but how this guy, this serial, crime guy, I can't even speak, but this serial killer, not only if he did not kill the victims, those who did survive, he would then harass and just torture them, call them up, leave voice messages, just the psychological damage after the crime, just brutal and awful and just terrible and completely unsolved. Went on for decades unsolved. And following this documentary, they caught him. And that was something good came out of this story. You had fresh eyes, people that were interested, people who didn't know the stories and the case, now heard it and wanted to invest time and research and find the information and see fresh eyes, fresh ear, and wanted to participate to solve this crime. The actor Patton Oswalt, his wife, she really, I think she helped produce this documentary, but she was also behind a book, and she really spearheaded getting this story, the attention that it needs to get to see if we could get this solved. And unfortunately, she passed away before they actually found this guy, but they found him. They found him. And he had his day in court. He was convicted. So there was some good that came out of this documentary. So with this new one, this was the Golden State. So with this new documentary about the Golden State Killer, hopefully, maybe this will bring new attention, people can find information, new eyes, new ears. The crime genre is the number one genre on podcast and television. So people are interested and people want to help out and they're curious. So let the law enforcement get the extra eyes and ears and help that they need. And, I'm sure it's extremely helpful. I'm sure a lot of it's for the police, sometimes maybe overwhelming, having all these extra hands and heads wanting to get up to partake in this. But I really hope there is something positive that comes out of it for the families of the victims. These serial killers from that time, just awful cases. So I hope we can close the doors, get closure for the families, and about these serial killers. Just depraved individuals. So if you haven't watched anything about the Menendez, watch that. There's fine information about them everywhere, but it's just so much in the news about them. Now, also watch the Zodiac that comes out. But there was also another documentary that came out, and this was on Peep, and this was called Anatomy of Lies. Now, I did not know this story at all. So this was totally fresh for me. Now, I don't know how to do this, but I did. This was totally a fresh story for me. Now, in this documentary, this was about a very talented writer in Hollywood. Her name was Elizabeth Finch, and she worked on some huge shows, Vampire Diaries. There was a couple other ones, but the big one was Grey's Anatomy, and extremely talented. And this woman, she's had a lot of other fields that she had wrote in, but she was just so talented and great. But this woman had just one serious life incident after another. Like, she had a rare form of bone cancer, and she had you name it, everything happened to this woman. So she had a rare form of bone cancer, and she had these clinical trials that ended up, she thought that she would never be able to get pregnant, and then she ended up getting pregnant, but then she had to have an abortion, and then she ended up having this child trauma, and then she had to have she had an emotional breakdown, and then she had to go to a healing center to get trauma, and she was somehow affected by the community that was attacked in Pittsburgh at the synagogue. You name it, any major story that had happened in the news or any extreme tragedy that could happen to an individual happened to this woman. So everyone who knew her was just like, how does all these extreme situations happen to you? She must be the most unfortunate person on the planet. But she used all these life experiences and put them into writing and used them to stories and brought them to life for these shows. And there were a couple episodes on one particular Grey's Anatomy that won her acclaim and a lot of attention, and it was one of the most viewed episodes ever on Grey's Anatomy. And that show has been on forever, and it was just so powerful. And most of the exclusive shows that she wrote just exclusively herself, and even with the team. But I think there were certain episodes she wrote on her own, and she channeled her life experiences into these episodes, and just she had so much success. She was revered by the writing community. She was just at the top of her game. And then she ended up getting married to this woman and was starting her life. I mean, just bing, it was like a ping pong game of emotions. And come to find out, this woman lied about all of it. All of it. Every single part of it. She was basically using her life stories, and it was kind of like a script for, a show. She was like screenwriting. And it's interesting because, when it came out that she was lying and making up all of it, all of it, her coworkers, her writers, and things. I mean, like, it is so much information that this woman lied about. Family stuff. She lied that her brother abused her growing up. She lied that her parents were not available for her. That she endured, like I said, terminal cancer, that she went into remission and then hit again, and then she lost a kidney, and you name it happened to this woman. And I mean, lied about all of it. Lied about all of it. So all the other people that were coming out were saying, I can't believe she lied, and it affected us. But I guess there's something to me that makes me think about, you can hate her for it and you can blame her for it. But she, I guess, really immersed herself in just a headspace. And yes, she lied. She went to extreme measures to conceal her efforts and her trail of dysfunction. But she did such deep research at going to this treatment center and doing, I guess, radiation. And it's crazy. It is crazy. But she was so believable that she wrote these scripts, and everyone believed her. Doctors, other victims, other survivors, we all believe her. She knew this stuff so well. And it almost like makes you want to think of actors that are preparing for a role. Like they'll go into rehabs, or they'll interview, or they do method acting, where they are so into the roles that they will become the character and you can't step out of it. So, I mean, if that's okay for actors to do that, to become this character, can you blame her for doing this research to understand that scope of whatever the subject or topic is that she's writing? Because there was extreme depth and every angle, emotional, the treatment, the diagnostic situation, I mean, everything that could encapsulate what it was in the scenario treatment. This is for like the episode of Grey's Anatomy. This woman really got all of that into that episode. So that's what made her writing just incredible. But that's what also made her so believable to those around her. And I don't know. You hear about a lot of these actors that get so far into their role of a character and play it so often. I always kind of think of the original actor of, was it Phantom of the Opera? What was his name? Michael Crawford? Is that it? I'm thinking off the top of my head. But there was always that story that he played that character so long and so much and so frequently that he couldn't really step out of that character, and he couldn't detach from that character into real life. And he ended up having a breakdown for it. So that was the story. And she kind of almost feels like it's the same way. And actors, there's are actors that have gone through that in the past. So is it kind of that? I don't know. But I found the story of Elizabeth Finch to be fascinating, just wrong. I mean, and just how diabolical she was. And when you hear about what the stuff that she did to her wife and her wife's family, Diabolical, crazy, but fascinating documentary. Anatomy of Lies. Okay? Peacock. Really, really good. Very good. Very good. Now, let's get into our trash. Okay? Let's get into it. Let's get in. Now, let's get into our Bravo. Let's go straight to Bravo. I'm just going to say that the Real Housewives of Potomac, I have missed you. I love you, and I'm so glad that you are back. Oh my God. Episode 2, boom, go right into it. So last time we left off, we were at the Hatitude party, and Mia ran off because they were basically insulting her parenting, and she ran off to the bathroom and was hysterically crying. So we pick up, she's still crying. She collects herself, gets back to the party, and there we are. I love Gizelle. Actually, you're okay this season. I am enjoying the friends are we trying to figure out what's going on with that whole arrangement, who's going to make it to the full screen. Now, the new girl, Stacy, you hear a little bit more about what's going on with her. The whole breakup with her husband and they're living together. I'm not judging, but I'm kind of judging. It seems like they got it worked out. It seems like it's kind of a little bit of a well-oiled machine now. It's been over a year-ish. But what's up with the relationship with the new guy? You only see a little bit of clips from him. Okay. Personal opinion, a little freaked out by that guy. Something's the ding, 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 the sirens, the flares, everything's going off in my head with that guy. I don't know, girl. First of all, you're not even divorced. You've been separated for a year. You're already talking about that. You're not intimate with him because he's he's extremely Christian. And so therefore there's no petting, intimate touching, no making out of any kind. So you're waiting for that. But but yet you're already thinking of going in the direction of that it could go into marriage. Pump the brakes. Okay. And I'm with Ashley. Even Ashley said, girl, you are separated and you're not playing the field and having a little bit of fun. Like what's going on with you? Like, why? So I'm seeing flares there with her. I'm seeing flares there with her new relationship. Yeah, this never really works out well. We've seen this happen before. I am curious. I am. Yeah, Karen. Poor Karen. The Grand Dame's not giving any questions. I understand you're in a tight legal situation. Grand Dame's not giving up anything. Karen. So I do like the fact that this episode, Gizelle really wants her and Ashley have that company, GNA, that they started, and it was going to be more like athleisure and stuff like that, and app wear. Last year, leggings, workout clothes, all that stuff. But this year, they're trying to kind of make a change into the direction of health and wellness. Since the story of her dad with the brain cancer last year, awful. When she said that, he wasn't feeling well and he had a scan, and 12 days later, he was dead. Just, oh my God, sad. So sad. And that shook her world. Absolutely so. And you saw, flashbacks of her dad and her, and they were close. Just absolutely devastating story there. So she's now been just affected and directly by brain cancer. And if there's any way that she can help others affected with it and put the information out there, research, and bring any type of help to a cause, that's what she's there for. And I think that's amazing. Great, great thing. So she's having a large event for GNA, but also for brain cancer research. And good on you, Gizelle. Shady Karen at the last minute says that she's having a function. She's being recognized for an award, for her feminine award. And at the last second, like literally at 6 a.m. that day of Gizelle's event, she announces to the group that she is having an award and the group is invited, and please feel free to go to both functions. She has a car service for anybody who wants to go. And Shady, 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 shady. And some of them do go. Some of them do go. And so you see the events going on. You see Giselle and Ashley's event, beautiful event. It looks like it's going well, bringing a lot of positive attention for brain cancer and for their company. And Ashley says at the function, I did speak to some of the other in the group, and they are going to go to Karen's function and see her award, but they're probably going to be, and this is their function started, I see, with Ashley and Giselle talking about 6:30. And she said they'll probably be here about 8. And Giselle's like, no, like, you're going to show up that late? That's just rude. Like, that's really rude. Like, just tell them if they're going to be that late, don't arrive, don't come. So Ashley informs them. So they get there a little bit, they're trying to get there earlier than 8, but still very, very late. Beyond fashionably late. And we see at the end of the episode that is it Stacy, the new girl, Mia, and another one are showing up to the party, and Giselle's kicking them, going, nope, can't come, no thank you, get out. This is my party, and I'm pissed. And I hope that she stays pissed. That is rude. I mean, you already made reservations. You already promised them to go. And then at the last minute, you're going to show up. You're going to show up to Karen's event when you could say, I respectfully decline your invitation, Karen. Thank you, but no thank you. I've already RSVP'd to Giselle. And this is for, you know, a really wonderful organization. And I do love Grand Dame. I do love Karen, but I'm getting a little tired of her antics and how self-absorbed she is. I love it when her and Giselle together, but this is gross and I don't like it. And again, Stacy, I'm waiting for you. Wendy, I hope you get your stuff figured out. Ashley, get a divorce. Get that divorce going, okay? Okay. Now, Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City. You have been fun. I love Mary. This season, they were in Milwaukee. Ashley hosted Ashley. Why do I keep wanting to call Ashley? Whitney. Why do I want to call Whitney from Salt Lake City Ashley? Maybe I don't know. But she hosted a trip to Milwaukee. Everyone's in Milwaukee. And I gotta say, whenever I do go to Milwaukee, I am gonna hit the beer caves. But I am loving Mary this season. Mary, you are cracking me up. You are really trying to be engaging, and you are funny. So I'm enjoying you. I love you're still got a 3 shade, got a 3 judge, but I am really enjoying Mary. So have fun with that. Let's see. Meredith, please give me something. Meredith, a little bored, but that's supposed to come down to later in the season. Bronwyn, I am finding too much too soon. The hot dog outfit. Okay, I know that's couture. Still hideous. The heart. Now the hot dog, I think I'm out. I think this is too try hard. It's too try hard. Maylee, nothing. Brandy, do I need to hear about this Oswald? I'm so sick of hearing about this Oswald guy. And if I hear you sit there and pick up another cup and ding, 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 can I get an attention? I have an announcement. Don't want to hear it. Nobody cares about that Osmond guy. He looks douchey and he's using you and you're using his name to get a story. So over it. Whitney, can everybody please leave Lisa alone? Please. And Angie K. I don't know. I'm enjoying Angie K this season. I'm enjoying Angie K. But Bronwyn, I don't know. What is it with the Bronwyns? Annoying. OC, I'm just going to be real quick. Okay? Tamara, you got to go. Over it. And everybody, please leave Shannon alone. The girl's having a heart attack. She's having a breakdown. Shannon, you look great. Let this girl heal. Let her help. Somebody help her. Someone please help Shannon. Heather, I'm liking you a bit this season. I'm liking it. But the way OC left. Okay, first of all, they're in London. The fact they're doing all their stuff on the toy, which cracks me up. The double-decker bus, you're having their tea. But the boat ride where they're screaming and it's got to be freezing. Get me off this boat. Hilarious. But the final scene at the dinner where everybody's fighting and they're going after Shannon, and Shannon goes to the side, and Gina is trying to comfort Shannon because she's obviously upset. And the whole court state's going on. John Jansen, not a likable guy. But when she's like, when Shannon pulls out the phone and turns to Gina, she said, everybody thought Alexis was so sweet, had nothing to do with it. When I pulled up a text message, or when I was searching my phone, trying to get information from Alexis so I could send her texts, not inviting her to London, which, by the way, as you should, Shannon, as you should, and justify. She said, I pulled up a text from 2018. Clearly states here where Alexis says, my ex Jim and I have an attorney and we will be suing you. We will be suing you. Group effort. And it's on there and proof. And Gina was like, mind is blown. She's like, Alexis is the liar. Alexis has been lying the whole time. And she has. And we knew it. We knew it, Jesus Jugs. We knew you were lying. And whoever brought Alexis a season, which was it Tamra? Tamra says it was Heather. I think that was Tamra said it was Heather that actually wanted her to bring her on. I think it was a bad idea. I think it was a really bad idea. Jan Jansen, you look like an asshole. You look really gross, thirsty, and hungry, Alexis. I'm over it. And that was a really good cliffhanger. I'm really excited to see more. And Shannon, I hope you get it all back. It's been a mess for her. And leave Shannon alone, everyone. Leave Shannon alone. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us today on Polywine. It's been great hanging with you today. Please go to Instagram at PolyWineTime if there's anything you want to discuss. Feel free. Anything that's coming up, news, stories, interesting stories, movies, documentaries, I'm here to take it all. Follow me wherever you can get your feed, and I'll be with you next time. Thanks so much, and have a great day. Bye.